Now for our Show Me the Money series. We all know that women, despite all their gains in the workplace, are still not paid the same wages as men. So, Good Morning America financial contributor Melody Hobson is here to tell us how they can get what they deserve. Good morning again, Melody. Good to have you back.
Thank you.
The women, we get a little squeamish sometimes, some of us, when it comes to talking about salary and money. And we went to the streets of New York. We got some questions from people who wanted to ask you some things. And the first question is, like, even starting early, the first job, they still have concerns about the salary. Let's take a look.
I'm finishing graduate school next year. How do I go about negotiating my first salary? And how do I know what that salary should be?
Very good question.
This is a very important question. And part of the reason is statistics show that in failing to negotiate their first salary, an individual stands to lose about $500,000 before the age of 60. Remember, your starting salary becomes the anchor for your future compensation at the company. Interestingly, men are 4 times more likely to negotiate the starting salary versus women. So some people say that explains the difference in the pay gap. What do? You want to make sure you do your due diligence, you do your research, and you know what the job is worth, what you should be paid. And there are a bunch of sources you can go to get that information. Don't count on another person because people tend to inflate what they are paid. So you can go to websites like salary.com. You can go to the Career Center at the school where she goes to school. You can go to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics website. You can look at the websites of another company under their career tabs. You could look at the plain old classifieds.
Yeah, there's lots of areas to go.
And last but not least, remember total comp, not just cash, because as benefits have become very important, particularly with rising health care, you want to take that into consideration.
Okay, so you have the job, you've negotiated your first salary. Most people think you should be happy you have the job, but what happens next? Let's hear.
I recently got hired at a new job. I want to know when is the appropriate time to ask for a raise.
That's a tricky point. When do you go in there and ask for the raise?
Well, with a new job, don't even think of asking for a raise before the first year. It takes a few months just to get traction in a new company and in a new place, so don't even think about it. The other thing is to remember that timing is everything. And what I mean by that is you want to ask for a raise around the time that you have some kind of performance review. At most companies, that's a semi-annual or annual process.
All right, and now this is a question that so many of us ask as women: equal pay for equal work. Let's take a look.
I feel as though I have the same credentials as my coworkers, but yet I seem to be paid less. How do I rectify this situation?
Well, Melody, we hear this over and over and over again. It's a major concern.
This is a big issue, particularly for women. First, what I recommend is that you go to the HR department and ask if there are comp guidelines for your job category. And that will spell out everything from raises that you might expect to bonus potential. Secondly, you want to ask, where are you in the compensation range for your peer group? You want to ask your boss that and the HR department. Are you at the low, middle, or high end? And if you, when you ask that question, you want to get the answer in writing. You want to say, again, during a review, what can I do to improve if I'm not at the high end? That's very, very important.
Yeah, job performance. All right, always giving us ways to put more money into our pocket. Thanks a lot.